Hi folks, welcome to a Canvas walkthrough. This is setting up for spring 2022. So I will be using this checklist, which you'll have digitally as well. And on this checklist, there'll be individual images and videos that'll help walk you through everything step by step. But now I'm going to go through the whole process. So first things first, I am looking at my dashboard here and I have all of my fall semester courses. So I'm actually going to select courses, all courses, and now I want to unfavorite or unstar my fall semester courses, and I'm going to star my spring semester courses. And I can tell the difference between fall and spring based on this number right here at the beginning. The odd numbers are for fall and the even numbers are for spring. The other thing I'm looking for is this 22. The 22 indicates that it is for this current year. So I'm going to scroll down here. And I can even see I've got my semester 2 labeled right there. I'm going to star those 2 courses. Once I'm ready with that, I am ready to begin my first step, which is to import my template from Commons. So I'm going to go over here and I can see that my courses are still unpublished. So you can see here, here's a little preview of the templates that I have available as well. So I'm going to go to Commons. And I am going to go up to my search bar up here and type in D155 Spring 2022. And that is going to narrow down to the templates that I have available for this semester. Note here that I have the full course template. I also just have the home page. Some people like to reuse their home pages from previous years, especially if you are using the template without dates. But if you want to start from scratch, I highly recommend importing the whole course. You can see that I have 2 options here. One is the weekly template with no dates, which is generic and it can be used over and over again. Or if you're like me and prefer to have those dates, I've got the D155 Spring 2022 weekly module with dates. So I'm actually going to select this template here. And you can have a little preview here. This preview isn't exactly what it's going to look like, but it gives you a good idea. So if you want to click around, you can take a look. And then when you're ready to import, you're going to select import. And you can see here on the right-hand side, I have a lot of courses. I have a lot of sandboxes, but you'll have less courses. And again, you're going to be looking for 22, and you're going to be looking for even numbers. So I'm going to select both of my courses. I can do both courses at the same time. And then I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to press import into course. Now I'm going to see this green bar up at the top, which says that I'm successful. Please note that importing takes a while. So sometimes people they go straight to their Canvas course and they see that it's not instantaneously there. So they repeat that process a few times over. Give it time. You don't want to import the same template in there twice or multiple times over, because then you'll be stuck and confused with which is the correct homepage and things like that. So be patient, give it a few minutes. Once I've given it a few minutes, then I can go to my course and I can begin to walk through the next steps of the process. So I am going to select my dual credit speech class here, and then I'm going to take a look at what step is next. And here I can see that I need to go to my course setting, and I'm going to customize and turn on some of those key features that are updated in Canvas. So I'm going to start by going to settings, and then I'm going to go to feature preview. Now in feature preview, I'm going to turn on my accessibility checker, which is already automatically turned on. I am going to turn on discussion and announcement redesign. This is going to enhance the look and features of your announcements and those discussion threads, and that's going to make that just easier for students to navigate. New quizzes are already automatically turned on, but the last thing that I want to turn on is my assignment enhancements. Now, when it comes to assignment enhancements, it changes the look and the accessibility of your feedback. So if you're someone who grades the online like file upload assignments and you give a lot of feedback on the document, this makes it easier for students to access that feedback and see it on the same page. So I highly recommend that you turn on this feature. Then once I'm done and I am set and I'm ready to begin to look at my navigation for my course. So here, if I imported the template, then that's going to be all set for me. So looking here, I've got Zoom Classroom, announcements, modules, assignments, grades, and grade sync. Now you have the option of turning on more if you'd like, but keeping it consistent across classes and keeping it simplified can be really beneficial. So that looks good to me. So I'm going to go down and press save, and then I'm going to look at my next step here. So the next step is to set up Zoom Classroom. And when it comes to Zoom Classroom, hopefully we won't have to use it too much, but if we do need to, you're going to schedule a new meeting. You're going to look at your course. You can add information if you want, but it's not necessary. And then I'm going to select recurring meeting here. And for whatever reason, people always miss this little drop down here. I'm going to select no fixed time. So that way it's recurring. It's not appearing on my students' calendar each day. So recurring no fixed time is what I want my students to access. And then I'm going to go down and press save. If I have a co-teacher, this is where I would add their name as that alternative host. So I'm going to press save. And now Zoom Classroom is all set, and we are ready for step number 5, which is on the second page of this document. So now we're going to log into Skyward, and it's really important that for the syncing process for Canvas to Skyward that you have logged into your Skyward. And once you do that, you're going to open up your gradebook, and make sure you open up your gradebook for each of the sections of your course. It's always nice to look at the names and maybe even set up the seating chart there. So I'm going to press gradebook, and then I would go through and open up each of those sections. Now I'm not going to do that right now because I have student names there. So I'm going to leave that part out, but you're going to open that up. The other thing I want you to do when you are in Skyward is to check on the categories to make sure that you know your formative and your summative grade weights. Sometimes district-wide those have changed, so just being aware of that is really important, and making sure that it's correct in Skyward so that when you enter it in Canvas, we can have that smooth sync process. So now that I've done that, I'm going to think about my grade weights in Canvas. So to set your grade weights, you're not going to click on grades. That's always my go-to. I have to remind myself that it's actually assignments. And here, if you used a template, you're going to see that you've got formative assessment, summative assessment, and final exam already included for you. Canvas creates this generic assignments module here, so I'm just going to delete it because we don't use that in D155. I also don't have a final exam, so I'm actually going to delete that as well. Now I have the correct categories, but I don't have my grade weights entered. So I'm going to click these 3 dots here, and I'm going to select assignment group weights. From here, I'm going to check this weight final grades based on assignment groups. And for me, I know its formative is 10% and my summative is 90%. So I'm going to press save there. And now this is correct, and that's ready for me to start syncing my grades over from Canvas to Skyward. Now, my next step is to set up and customize my gradebook. So now I am going to go to grades here, and I'm going to close that out. But there's a couple of things that I like to set up. And if I go up to view here, I like to turn on filters, and you can filter by section. So if you have multiple periods of the same course, multiple sections, you have that where you can toggle between my second and my third hour here. I also like to turn on filters by modules. So using the weekly setup for my Canvas course here, I can go through, and it's really nice when I know I'm grading specific chunk of assignments to go by week. So that can help sort through all of the different categories, all of the different assignments that I have throughout the entire semester. And we know that by the end of the semester that can get really long. Something that's really nice and new in Gradebook is you can search specific assignments. You can also search specific student names. So you can narrow this down and play with this look and feel of the Gradebook, which can make your grading way more efficient. So keep looking at that. Now that I've set up the shell of my Canvas course, now I'm going to want to import existing content. Now, everybody has a different way of importing or different things that they want to import. I think it's important that you really think carefully about what you're importing so that you don't have extra assignments or duplicates of things that can make your Canvas just harder to navigate later on. So for me here, I'm going to copy a Canvas course. I'm going to type in my name here if I know my naming convention. You're going to have a much smaller list than I do here, so that can be really helpful here. So for me, I know it's 135 dual credit speech, and I know that I'm actually want to use this last semester's one. So I'm going to select that. I typically don't select all content because I like to recreate my weekly home pages each week. So I'm going to select specific content and then press import. And this is a great thing to talk about with your CLTs, with your instructional coach, or with your DL when you're thinking about what you should and should not import. So for me personally, I don't import the modules. I import all the assignments and question banks. I do the discussions. I skip pages because those pages are customized for my semester courses from last semester, so I don't want to reuse those. I don't want announcements either. I like bringing over external tool, and that's like Flipgrid and things that I've integrated into Canvas. I want all my rubrics. And then files typically are pictures, so it doesn't hurt to bring those over, but you don't have to as well. So I'm going to select that content. And again, this process takes a while, so don't repeat the process. Give it time, and then those different assignments and those different resources that you've imported from last semester, they will begin to populate in your course. Now that I've done that, I highly recommend creating a welcome video where you can walk your students through how to navigate your course. Each one of us, even if we use a template that many other people use, we like to personalize our courses and maybe turn on a few features that students want to access. So creating that video can be a really great way to personalize and familiarize your students with how you organize things. And Screencastify is that extension that I'm actually using right now, and many of us used, especially during the pandemic. It's great to just create that video, and then you can embed that straight into Canvas right here on the home page. You can also customize the banner. Remember, you can, once you get the template in, you can personalize and you can make it whatever you'd like it to be. Note here, I can see that I got that little eyeball for announcements and assignments. So currently in my course, I'm just importing those assignments and I haven't created an announcement yet. So don't get concerned if you see that little eyeball pencil. That will change once I have created those things for my students. The last thing that you can do is hit publish. So when you're ready, you can publish your course. Now remember here in modules, if I go to modules here, I can see that my modules aren't published. My course homepage is published, but scrolling through, even though my home pages are green, students can't access them because I haven't published the weekly module. So I highly recommend publishing your course early so that your students can see that they have the tile, that they'll be ready for the first day of second semester. Now, your course will be available to students on their dashboards the Saturday before we start, and we start on a Tuesday this year. So students won't see any of that information. They won't have access to anything that you don't publish. So by publishing the homepage on that Saturday, you're giving your students the opportunity just to see the overview of your course. They won't be able to access any assignments that you haven't published. They won't be able to access or get into any of the modules if you haven't published those. So just by giving them that homepage with perhaps a welcome video or a syllabus or something to get them started, just gives them that peace of mind that they know what they're walking into on the start of the first semester. So that's the overview of how to set up your Canvas course. Please feel free to go back and watch any section that you need, or don't hesitate to reach out.